Hello, hello. What's going on, guys?
We're doing great. How are you?
We're doing awesome. We just got done blasting Firecry and then Coven, and
Nice.
I got to tell you, man, like the whole place is just laid to waste right now. That shit was insane, man. What the fuck?
Well, you know, we gotta fuck around a little bit, right? You know, scare the people.
That was heavy. That was really everything. Like the whole band, all of you guys are just on full 10, like the whole way. And that little Cliff Burton bass solo thing that was going on in the middle. That's epic.
It's Keith here. I'm an unapologetic Cliff Burton nut, and that's definitely a tribute. For sure.
I could tell, man, right away when I heard that. Like that was one of the first things I was like, oh man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool track. Well, Keith actually he aside from producing the entire fucking album, he also wrote that song, so it was very fitting of him to do the Cliff Burton throw for sure.
Hell yeah, man. Rest in peace, Cliff. So tell us about you. Tell us about like how did you guys get started, and how long have you been doing this?
Well, collectively, we've been doing this a very long time. We're all different age groups. So, you know, Keith's been playing since he wasn't even legally allowed to play where he was playing, like he was that young kind of thing. So he's been at it for, 30 plus years now, Keith?
Yeah, first took stage when I was 16.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was back in the early 90s. My first band was called first original type, metal band was called After Forever. Be confused with the After Forever in Europe, right? And we just been playing ever since, man. Metal all the way.
Yeah, and as for the rest of us, I mean, myself, I've been singing since I came out of the womb. Funny little story about me was basically I was a really colicky baby, which means I basically screamed like for 6 months, and
still at it.
I still scream. Anyways, but yeah, exactly. So what happened was my mom was like, "Oh my God, this poor baby. Like, I don't know what to do." So anyway, she was listening to the Power Hour or like Headbangers Ball. I can't remember which one, but she was listening to one of those, and she just sat me down in front of it, and I stopped crying immediately. And I don't remember this, obviously, as I was an infant, but I've been pretty much into metal since as far back as I can remember. So I've been singing probably for, maybe 25 years, but in bands, I would say professionally and things like that, close to 15. And Jeff is probably, I would say about close to Keith because...
Yeah, we're similar vintage.
He's more in the vintage age. Sorry, Jeff. Love you.
Yeah. Were you trying to ask about like the band itself, Zach?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, the band started in 2010. So Jeff had the band already started, and I was in this other shitty band. And basically, I was being bossed around. People were telling me how to dress, and people were just really misogynistic in my opinion. And so I played with Category 6, and they had a lead singer who is a wonderful person. Her name was Cassandra. And she's more into folk music and things like that, which was a weird little choice, but nonetheless, she pulled it off. And so I was standing there watching them play. I was like looking at them thinking, Jesus, I really would love to be in this band. I really hate the band I'm in. And then the next thing you know I left that band, and that same night, Cassandra had to quit the band in Category 6. So she was only in there for like a few months probably, and I hopped right in, and I've been in there ever since. So that's kind of what happened. It was a pretty serendipitous kind of cool situation, because I had watched them play, and then the next thing I know I'm up playing and then recording albums. So it was pretty cool.
That is really cool. That is cool. It's like it was just meant to happen.
Yeah, it's like the Cinderella, with the shoe or whatever. I just put that fucker on,
With the mic.
With the microphone.
Cinderella with the mic.
Cinderella, like the band.
Not quite.
Well, not quite, yeah.
Well, Amanda, let me ask you, as far as like your vocal influences and stuff, like how did you learn? I mean, I know you started out screaming, but like, how did you learn how to control it like the way that you do? Because it's.
That's really nice of you. Like, I don't think I'm controlled at all. I just kind of, I sort of just go for it. And I think what actually caused me to figure out my voice was I was poor. So I didn't have a lot of money, and I basically would end up going around and like listening to old records that like I would get from relatives. And how I learned how to sing harmonies was on the Queen records. Like the very first Queen record I ever owned was this really cool holographic record, and it had like Another One Bites the Dust, those songs. Yeah. And so I would just learn harmonies that way and control myself that way, I guess, through Freddie Mercury. Like I had some of the best vocal teachers, in my opinion, and then shortly thereafter I got into Iron Maiden and of course Dio being my biggest influence. So I love when people, like, anytime that I see the interviews or the reviews, I should say, and they're like, yeah, I can hear Dio in there. I'm like, I could cry. Like I could go home and cry about that, right? So yeah, so that's kind of my influences. I would say Bruce Dickinson, of course, Rob Halford. I love Halloween as well. Jesus, there's so many really awesome bands. Metallica. I wouldn't say vocally I'm like James Hetfield, but I certainly appreciate his ferocity of his voice, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I have a lot of different people I like for sure, but they're mostly all very the virtuoso kind of singers are kind of my bag,
Well, you can't go wrong with Freddie Mercury, Bruce Dickinson, and Dio, man. I mean, like holy shit. Speaking of Dio, did you see that recent documentary that they did?
Oh fuck, man. Yeah, it took me forever. Like that came out last year, I think.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Man, it took me a full year to like even have the courage.
Did you cry? Did you cry at the end? I
did. I cried at the end. I cried the moment the opening credits came up. I was like, this is it. Whatever. Like, I'm just going to stay home and like just have swollen face for like 2 days straight. Like I was a complete mess. I mean, I kind of like, aside from my own grandfather, who unfortunately he died on my birthday when I was like a younger kid, like a teenager. I'd say Dio is up there with my grandfather. Like that really hurt me,
Yeah.
But in a way, like, through his death and all that stuff, and the fact that he was so, to the very bitter end, he was like so strong and resilient. Like, I hate to sound like an after school special, but it really inspired me, to be honest with you.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, his whole life too, like, I've been reading the book too, like, it's crazy, all the stuff that he was doing way back, like, way back. I didn't even know about that for a long time, like.
Oh, yeah, we're all, like, pretty much shocked by it because, like, I consider myself a big fan of Dio, and I was even surprised some of the deep cuts that, like, they were putting up of things that he did when he was, like, super, super young, and, like, seeing his pictures when he was a baby, I was like, oh man, like I'm just gonna be a whole mess here the whole night. It's just, I might as well just suck it up. It would be no different if like Keith was watching Cliff Burton, like a Cliff Burton documentary or whatever, like that's his guy, and so yeah, it was really hard, but it was such a perfect documentary. Like it really followed through on everything that I had hoped for and a whole lot more. So I was it was nice, but it was also so sad to hear like so many different little things that people were talking about he was working on, and he probably would have done so much still, right? Yeah. Very sad.
I see a lot of people in recent years say stuff like, like who's going to carry the torch for that kind of stuff, like where are the bands at right now in the modern age that are doing that, that are doing that kind of heavy, really just epic vocal delivery. And because you see a lot of people looking for that, you know, like but I gotta be honest with you guys, like, you guys are some of the bands, you're one of the bands that I think of whenever I think of, like, who's coming in to sort of fill that void that's, you know.
Oh man, like, don't make me cry, okay?
Yeah. That's real.
That's fucking awesome.
That's
man.
real generous, and you get it, and I really appreciate it, because that's exactly what we're trying to do. You know, other people say this, and you might have heard it before, but we're really just making music that we want to hear, and we don't hear it either, so we're making it ourselves.
That's so true. Like, you know, like, honestly, like, I love a lot of, like, there's a lot of great, no doubt, like, you know more about this than I do, Zach, but, like, a lot of the modern bands are wicked good. It's just, like, I'm a classic metal girl, and, like, Keith's classic heavy metal, Jeff is as well, and of course, our drummer, Matt, he's our newest drummer, of course, and whatever, but he also is very much, like, into that stuff. So we're all kind of, like, wanting to do the things that we always wanted to do, right? Like, you know, it's always a dream to be able to do the things that you kind of wish that you thought as a little kid that you never thought you'd be able to do, right? Like, so we're really enjoying it, and all the compliments that are going along with it. It's so awesome. Thanks for that. Like, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I mean, you know, and there is like a resurgence or something going on right now, you know, like in the last few years I've noticed with the whole new wave of traditional heavy metal, what they're calling it, you know, like bands that are you know, they're sticking to the old ways, you know, like doing the stuff that we grew up to listening to, you know, like the old Iron Maiden sound, Judas Priest, and
oh yeah.
Well, you know, the reason that I think the reason that those songs that you just spawned in that album sounds like that, I didn't go out of my way to make it sound like that. That's just the sound that's in my head. Yeah. When I was mixing it, and that, so I was kind of surprised when we get some reviews coming back saying that, you know, that term that you mentioned, I was unfamiliar with it. I'd never heard it, like new wave of traditional heavy metal. I guess we're early in the game because I never even heard the...
Maybe we'll be like one of the pioneers, hopefully.
You know, it's just, I guess the songwriting style, and you're picking up on it, is it was certainly heavily influenced on you know, the strings and the drums and stuff by Priest and Maiden, the Big Four for sure. I just live and breathe that stuff.
Anthrax.
I keep trying to get into new metal, and like I don't mean NU metal either. I mean just like newer metal. Not that I don't like new metal, because I do, but you know, I keep picking up recordings or go to Apple Music, Spotify, or whatever, and pick up some playlists and just listen through. And I certainly enjoy it. But if I'm being really honest, there's not much on my iPhone that's newer than 1992. Most of it is older than that. It's just what we're into, you know?
Yeah. 92, Dehumanizer, the Black Sabbath album.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites right there.
Oh, yeah. Bro, man, me too. I listen to that. I probably listen to that album once, I'd say every day. I pretty much pop that on in the car. I'm always listening to it.
Every song on that record is just fucking amazing. Computer God, fucking After All.
I love the song I.
Yeah. Oh my God. Did you ever see it? Did you ever get to see Dio live?
No, I never got to see Dio live. That's like my biggest disappointment. But I know people that have seen him live, like in later years, and from what I can understand, like the man just still fucking blew it out of the water. Like he still had his pretty much his entire range. Yes. Still, like he was sick and he was still like, you know, belting. You know, it's just inspiring. I find that, you know,
it's tough to get good shows. You know, you get some stuff here in Newfoundland. We're on an island. We're ass out in the Atlantic, about 1,500 miles northeast of New York City. So if you're gonna see a big show, you got to go to a major center, and to get out of here is not cheap. So if for me and Amanda say if we're gonna go see something in Toronto, we're looking at $3,000. probably go see the show, and that's before we buy the tickets.
Totally understand. Yeah, I mean, it's like that down here in Tennessee. It's really hard, but I was fortunate at the time when I was living in Phoenix, Arizona. Heaven and Hell was on tour, and that was like, I don't know, not long before he passed away, but I got to see him play, and they did that song they did all those songs from
I would have still loved to see that. They're killing it with that project. Like, it's so, like,
it's great.
Even even that album that came out post, of course, when he passed away, that whole compilation, I think it's called This Is Your Life. Is that? I think that's the title. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, that's, man, like, but the girl from Hailstorm, Lizzie Hale, she killed it. There was a bunch of artists on there that really blew me away. Joey Belladonna, like the Anthrax band, they played the whole, that one of the tracks. I can't remember the name of it now, but
Doro was on there too.
Doro was on there.
Yeah, we gotta have Doro.
You gotta have her, man. But like, just like, Doro is also one of Dio's closest friends, so it was so nice to see that, right? She's just a fucking legend. It's amazing. But yeah, it was a great album.
Yeah, it was. Man, I was really fortunate. Actually, I had her on the show right after they did that compilation. We talked about it.
Oh,
she is such a cool, down to earth, like, just.
She's so sweet. She's so sweet, man. Like, I could just tell, like, when she's talking, like, I feel like me and her would be really good friends. She's just so relaxed, and I love her accent. Like, when she's talking, she has that real, just really, like, jovial and happy and so sweet. Like, I'm so, like, happy that I live in a world where she lives, like, even if it's like I've never met her before, but I'd love to meet her. She's one of those people that's just really inspiring to me, because she was a female down in, like, the very beginning of all this, and
well, there's not much separation between you and her now, because she talked to Zach and now we're talking to Zach.
Oh, that's cool. I'm just happy to be able to talk to Zach, to be honest, but it's cool though. Like, yeah, I never really put it that way, Keith, but that's a good point. I'm feeling very nervous now.
I'm always over here sitting just thinking to myself that it's cool to be able to talk to you guys, like all the different bands, it doesn't matter to me, like, if it's a new band or if it's somebody that I grew up to with posters on my wall, like, it's all, all of it. It's all the same. Like, it's just this world of metal that we live in, and it is a really cool place.
It's real interesting to us, Zach, and we talk about it a lot. And this album, this is our third one now. And we're doing this ourselves. We got great support from Moribund, and Odin's been awesome to us, and he's gotten us in contact with people that were just completely and utterly out of reach. Like, we never thought, we'd be dealing, talking to you, all this attention that's coming out of us. Like, the album is spinning heavy in Chicago. I never would have expected that. Right?
The good old Windy City. Loves it. We
were on the college radio charts, and charting pretty good, like on the heavy rock chart that they got. That blew my mind. If nothing else ever happened for the band, that it might sound strange, but that'd be enough for me. Just to be there with right next to some of these big names, people. I own their CDs. If I'm being real honest, I own their cassette tapes. Right? It's freaky for us, Yeah,
it's cool. Yeah, it's been quite a cool experience. Like, I was like thinking about it the other day, how I was talking to Munzie Ricci, like, on the phone, and like, he's so chill, and I find skateboard marketing, they're so nice to talk to. Everybody's just been so like.
Well, Munzie hangs around with like Wendy Dio, and he knows Kiss, and that freaks us out.
That freaks me all the way out, because I'll tell you what, I was talking to Munzie one night on the phone, and then he got off the phone with me. He's like, "Yeah, have a good night," in his New York accent, and then the next thing you know, I see him on Instagram hugging into Wendy Dio, and I just literally felt like pitching my phone across the room. I was so excited. And then I'm all trying to be cool when he calls me back later. I'm like, hey, what's up? Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, you've reached Amanda from Category 6. What's going on? Yeah.
I couldn't be that if I tried, to be honest.
What else you want to know, Zach?
Well,
you got questions?
You mentioned Moribund, and I got to give them a shout out too, because that's who put you guys on my radar, man. Like, he hit me up and asked me for to help out with some PR for the record, and like as soon as I listened to it, I loved the album artwork. Actually, from the get go, I was like, yeah, that's really cool. But then when I listened to it, I was like, oh man, this is gonna get like, you know, like people are gonna like this. So that's really cool to hear, like, that you guys are getting that kind of, because, you know, we don't see everything. Like we see a limited view of stuff on our end, but, you know, like hearing that from you guys, you know, that means a lot.
Yeah, I guess I know I haven't really experienced this myself before. I've heard other people talk about it, like other bands. We're gearing up to start writing again. You know, to go for album 4. Some of those songs, like Firecry, we were jamming that as a band and trying to hone it in and to make it a song, you know, pre-pandemic. So it's brand new to everybody else, but to us, you know, it's a 3 or 4 year old song, right? So I guess what I'm saying is that it's kind of weird that, you know, we know that material so well, and it's been part of our DNA for like 3 and 4 years, and everybody else is just experiencing it now. So when we get real kind feedback like you gave us, it tickles you in a strange sort of way, because like, oh, that old thing? Yeah, I think I remember how to play that. It's been a while. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's really wild. Actually, one of the oldest songs on that album, the album we're talking about, of course, is Firecry, but Cradle Will Fall, which has been getting a lot of really great reception. I'm actually really proud of that, because I was scared to put that song out because of the thematics of child abuse and things like that, and I didn't want to scare off my fans or anything like that. But that album, you know, that song, I should say, is super old. Like, I wrote that when I was in my early 20s. And I won't tell you how old I am now, because I'm like a lot older than that now. But I was like in my early 20s when I wrote it. So I kind of put it away, and I kept taking it out and looking at it and putting it away. And then when I got into Category 6, I had a bunch of songs already written, sort of lyrically speaking, and some ideas, right? But yeah, it's amazing, because it went from, you know, this like 10-year-old, like, you know, song to like something that people are actually hearing for the first time now and loving it. So it's fucking awesome, if you ask me.
That is really cool. You know what? Another thing I wanted to ask you about was, when I first started listening to the record, one of the first things that I saw also in the track list at the very end, you do a cover of Barracuda, and I'm a huge fan of Heart as well. Awesome. And my first thoughts, you know, of course, when I see that, I'm like, oh man, I wonder, you know, like, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it good? Or is it is it gonna be Hurt? You know, but no, man. Like, you guys nailed it. You killed it.
Oh man, thank you so much.
That's a hard vocal thing right there to do. I mean, like,
yeah. You know what? Maybe it's like you often hear people talk about the aerodynamics of a bumblebee, and when engineers have a look at the bee, they figure out the bee shouldn't be able to fly, but the bee doesn't know that. Mm-hmm. So he flies anyway. So, you know, Amanda is my favorite singer.
Oh,
and
what?
I get to enjoy that all the time. You know, you can probably guess from the last name thing. We're married. We got married about 4 years ago.
Okay, I was going to ask about that. I did notice that. But I wasn't sure.
Yes, it's this big romance, so, you know.
The backstory and sordid details, if that's what we're here for, right? Category 6, Amanda got in 2010. I was single, and around 2013 or so, she was looking for like a bit of a side project, if you like, to do a little something different on the metal side. It's a small metal community here, so I approached her interest in playing guitar because I play guitar too, and the project never took off, but our relationship did. So, and then shortly after that, they needed a bass player, which is what I really do. So I had to audition like everybody else, and it got picked up for the role or whatever. So I've been in the band since 2014 now, right? Yeah. And then we at that point we were living together and stuff, and tied the knot in 2018. So my daily life, and I guess from what I'm saying is that there's an acoustic guitar in our living room. Some couples like to sit down maybe, and we do too. You sit down and watch Netflix, get pizza or something like that. But we're just as likely to break out the acoustic guitar and sing a Dio tune or an ABBA tune or something like that as anything else. And she never ceases to amaze me with what she's capable of, and there really isn't a limit to what she can do. Like, I'll sit down with a guitar tab, even a song I don't know real well, and just pick out some chords, anything, just off the top of your head, and kind of jerry rig it and get it going. And the next thing you know, this little girl with a gigantic voice is just filling up the living room, and it's one of my favorite things to do. You got to be there.
Well, listen, anytime. And also you, right? Like I mean, he was playing. He was just fucking around down here yesterday before the jam, and I was like rocking out upstairs to like Rio by Duran Duran. I was like, man, he's blasting her downstairs. Oh, yeah. And then I went downstairs, and it was fucking him playing the whole thing. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, we're really lucky. Like, we get to like listen to each other play all the time and stuff. You take it sometimes for granted, but it's nice to be around somebody else that has the same interests as you. So like we have a lot in common in that way.
Man, absolutely agree. And that is a really cool story. And also, I mean, just being fuck, man, you're covering Ann Wilson right there, and you're delivering it. Like, that's enough right there. Like, you're coming out the gates saying, this is who I am, this is what I can do. And that's like some shit that you see on competition TV shows, like The Voice or something, like.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, I won't keep this very long, but I actually we had a version of that here in Canada. It was Canadian Idol, and I made it through almost the entire rounds. Like, they were going through all the rounds here in St. John's, and I made it into the top 50 in all of Newfoundland before they made the tickets for Toronto. Like, the Toronto place was like the big kahuna, but I didn't make it because I got really sick and my pop died at the same time. So it kind of came through in my vocal. But luckily enough, Sass Jordan, who's a very good Canadian rock singer, she looked at me, and I'll never forget it. She said, do not give up what you're doing. You've got a rocker voice in there. You remind me of myself, and I really hope that when you leave here, you're going to keep going. And that meant so much to me because my pop died, and I didn't want to be one of those idiots, like people sometimes go up and they'll be like, my cat fucking died, give me a ticket. Like, I didn't really want to do that. I wanted to win based on my own merits and my own talents. And I didn't want to say anything about pop dying. But anyway, so that was a cool moment for me, I guess. And as for the Heart song, I mean, it was a no-brainer based on the thematics of the album. The Wilson sisters wrote that back in 1976, I'm going to say, or 77, when Dreambone Annie came out. And they wrote it because they were getting all these rumors said about them, and the label was giving them a hard time. So anyhow, they went up and wrote this song, Barracuda, within a few minutes, right? And I actually posted that as a cover last year with the guys, and Nancy Wilson liked it. Like, we're talking the real Nancy Wilson liked it. I fucking died. Yeah.
You want to hear, you want to know something no shit, Zach?
What?
About that? that main vocal track on that recording is one take.
Oh man!
I swear to God, I swear to God, it is.
All right,
which is unique in because we're recording into a DAW like everybody else is, right?
Yeah.
You know how it goes. You can do as many takes as you want. That even I work with her all the time. That even impressed the shit out of me. She just started and finished, and we did another track for some of the harmonies that were there, right? But that is one take.
Yeah, it was one take.
And in fact, the rest of the album, there are very, very large chunks of most of those vocal tracks. I had to do very little editing or comping of vocals with Amanda. She just shows up. She knows what she wants to do, and it just happens. For some folks, if you ask them, like, would you want to produce your wife? They would say, that sounds like a really bad idea and a recipe for disaster.
It could be. It could be.
No, we have our squabbles, sure, just like any couples do. But when we come here to do work and do the vocals and stuff like that, it's a completely different vibe. We're just, I got my role and she's got her role and she nails her role. Another thing I'd like to share that might be of interest to you and anybody who's listening is there is absolutely positively no auto-tune anywhere on that album. Not a single note.
Hell yeah.
It was fucking awesome. I'll give myself a pat on the back for that, because look, I got no problem with people, dabbling in on those things, because, every genre is different. But as for heavy metal, as far as I'm fucking concerned, I come from the school of Dio, and if you've heard of any of his interviews, he was, staunchly against like anything fake. He wanted to be himself, and even if that meant like there's a vocal crack or but for me, Zach, that actually gives authenticity to a vocal, whereas like if you right, and when you smooth something over, it becomes almost like it becomes a ghost of what it used to be. Really, your vocal is not it's not you anymore. You're kind of like looking at something else. So we ain't saying
the whole thing is absolutely perfect, but it's damn
my God,
close.
No, not by any means.
I didn't want to touch anything. I just thought it was great the way it was.
Yeah, and I also, another thing was I had COVID twice, and a third time actually a few weeks ago, and I'm like double vax, triple vax, like vax up the yin yang, but it still manages to come through somehow. And I actually had to work through COVID, basically, like trying to get this album out, So it was a bit of a tumultuous time, but I don't regret it one bit. I'm really proud of what we did. Everybody did a great job. Jeff sounds fucking fantastic. Jeff just gets better and better. Like his guitars are, so good, and the solos are just phenomenal. Keith is a bass wizard. Like I don't have to say a thing about him. He's just reliable and like a machine when it comes to his instrument. And we have Jason Williams, who's our drummer on the album, of course. And Jason, he's just out of this world. Like there's not a thing that the man can play. So I'm really proud of the guys. I'm really, not just me, myself, but, I'm proud of what we've collected here, right? In terms of a story, I guess, for sure.
Oh, it's great. It's great, man. You guys did it. And you know what? I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm laughing to myself because it's funny. Like, that is really cool that you guys are like a power couple like that too, because the other band that I have on tonight, Smoulder, that's another the singer Sarah and the guitarist Sean, they're married. So
that's
awesome.
Good. Yeah, like I saw that. Yeah, they're fucking awesome too, by the way. Like I'm really glad that you got a double whammy going on here. That's so cool.
And then, me and Raven, I mean, my wife, she helps me with all this Metal Devastation bullshit. Like, so it's all the way around, man. Like, I didn't even plan that, but like that's funny.
Yeah. It's it's great when people got stuff in common and common interests, and you get that
Yeah.
you get that support from the people that you love, so close and so intimate like that. It's like two of y'all in the foxhole, right? You're in the foxhole, and it's like you two, or maybe against the world or whatever is how it feels sometimes, and you got each other. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and you build your morale that way too. Like, I'm sure with your wife as well, Zach. Like, there's some days that are more difficult than others, but when you have somebody that knows the struggle or knows how much work and effort a radio show as great as yours is, it's so awesome to have somebody in your corner and be like, you know what, you're gonna get through this. I'm right here. Like, I got your coffee, or like whatever it is. You've got somebody in your corner. Just support that. Right. So yeah, no, it's great. I'm so glad to hear you've got that for sure, because it is really awesome to have it.
Totally, man.
You said you're in Tennessee, Zach. Are you in where are you at? In Memphis or?
No, we're in Jackson, Tennessee. It's a small city halfway between Memphis and Nashville.
Oh, we know.
So you're pretty close to Graceland if you want to go.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, killer. Yeah.
I always wanted to go to Tennessee. Like, it's on my list of places I want to go so bad.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of metalheads here, man. Last year we did the first Tennessee Metal Devastation Music Fest, and we didn't know if anybody was going to show up, and then all of a sudden 1,200 people came out and they supported, and it was all underground bands, and it was just a big party, and it was a great time, and we're doing it again this year, so yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
And I guess the state drink has got to be Jack Daniels, right?
Absolutely. Jim Beam cool. Is for Kentucky, man. So.
Yeah. I think a lot of players are moving to Nashville, and not just the like the country guys either. I know Billy Sheehan is living there now, for example.
There's a lot of rock guys there. I mean, I think there's Dave Mustaine.
You just took the words out of my mouth, friend.
Oh, Dave is there. Okay.
Yeah, he's there. Dave. I know Dave Elfson. No, maybe not.
Yeah, so maybe we're going to take over Tennessee, all the metalheads.
Hell yeah, I hope so. We're trying.
Fuck yeah, move over, country. No, we're
that would be an accomplishment.
Can you imagine? Grand Ole Opry will like show up and just like take over and like get all the country bumpkins out of the town.
That's what you need to do. You need to make a metal Opry.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like have a grand old metal Opry. I even sound Southern now. Why is that?
Because we're talking to Zach.
I'm like, well, shit. I love that accent though. And as soon as somebody talks to me, it could be anybody from down there, of course. Like, I just start picking up the accent. What is that? Like, I
don't know.
I don't know. It's weird.
You're a singer.
I'm a singer. Maybe I just want to maybe it's like I'm trying to learn a song, but it's a speech thing.
It does rub off on you. I mean, I'm not from here, but I've lived here so long that it's all over me now. So it's
okay. Where are you from, Zach?
I was born in California, but I lived in I've lived all over the place, man. That's a long story. That's another.
That's another.
That's a saga.
Yeah,
that's a whole.
I lived in Texas for about 6 years. I was in Houston.
Nice.
For a while. Yeah. Well, certainly a great city if you want to see some shows. That's for sure. And I sure saw a lot.
Well, speaking of shows, what do you guys have lined up? Do you have any tour dates or concerts or anything like that coming up?
Yeah. So the plan is to break in a new drummer. So the guy that did the recording for us, he's a former member, but still a close friend. And we were in between drummers when we said, okay, we really want to get this album done. So we called Jason and got him on the go and got all the drum tracks and stuff like that. So we just recently, within the last couple of months, got a new drummer. He's a young guy, super talented, goes around the skins like it's child's play. He's a multi-instrumentalist as well. He also plays piano and some strings and
He sings.
Stringed instrument, and he's a singer as well, like a complete music guy. You know, we were here last night, and he's a fair bit younger than us. So me and Jeff, for a laugh, we start playing Metal Health by Quiet Riot.
Hell yeah!
And he's this guy starts playing the song like he knew it. He'd never heard it before in his life, but found it intuitive. And I'm just yelling at him as we're playing, hey, you know, punches. And he's just punching, you know, there's a breakdown here. And he just intuitively knows what to do. He blows me away.
He's so fantastic.
I really cannot wait to start writing songs with this guy.
Are you guys going to cover that song?
Possibly.
We should, because
she can do it.
I forgot that I could too, and I scared the shit out of myself because I was there last night, you know, trying to sing it, and all of a sudden I went, I'm not going to do it right now because I literally break the screen probably, but that scream at the end, at the very beginning of the song, holy shit, it just came right out. I never did that in so long. Like, it felt so good, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I forgot that I could do that kind of vocal, but anyways, it was great. So maybe we should. And as for shows, we're actually hoping to do a show probably in the next over the summer. We're going to do something here locally, of course, to do a little bit of a welcome back, because we haven't played since before the pandemic, because of the pandemic.
Yeah, it's just time to get back at it.
Yeah, and we're really hoping, to be honest, Zach, we're hoping that our goal would be, you know, eventually to do some kind of a miniature tour, or like, you know, I was talking to a buddy of mine, I can't remember exactly which radio station now. I met him through interviews, and he was talking to me about the Oregon Music Festival with the metal and all that stuff, and you know, there's a lot of interest. So what I'm hoping is,
we just like the way he's putting it is, if we can get there, we can play. You know, get a slot. You know? Exactly,
right. Mm-hmm. So who knows? Like, if we can find the right opportunity, I'm sure like you'll probably see us at some point in the States. You know.
That would be awesome. We would love that. And just let us know too, you know, like maybe we can help some way, you know. I don't know. Just keep us in
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, it's good to have, you know, like making connections with people is so nice. And, you know, we really appreciate it because, you know, we are on this, you know, relatively small island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Like, we never thought in a million years that we'd be talking to so many different people all over the place, you know. So, but especially the support that we're getting, it's pretty cool, you know.
Yeah, like we get reviews and they're in German, so we got to translate them to figure out if you liked it or not.
It's kind of like a surprise, like it's like an egg, like a Kinder egg, you know, like you're opening up the egg and you're like, I wonder if this will choke me or not. Like, you know, maybe it will, maybe it won't.
They don't have Kinder eggs.
Oh, they don't. Oh, you're not allowed to have Kinder eggs in the States. Did you know that, Zach? You can't have a Kinder Surprise egg. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, yeah, we have those. My kids get them all the time at Walmart.
Oh, shit.
So, sorry about that.
Years ago, there was this thing they were saying, like, it was probably an old, like, wives' tale or something. I don't know. They said that Kinder Surprise eggs were banned in some states in the United States.
I don't know. So, they might be. They're not here in Tennessee, though, because...
Well, good. I'm so glad, because they're really good, man. That chocolate.
Yeah, I don't care about it. Well.
I can eat it. I actually got one upstairs. I'm excited.
You feeling hungry?
Yeah. For Kinder Surprise? Hell yeah.
It's always a good time.
Always a good time. Them and those friggin' Terry's chocolate oranges. My God.
Yeah, those are good.
You like to smack them into the wall.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm about out of questions for you guys. Is there anything else you want to let the people know?
I mean...
Thanks for the support. Keep listening.
Yeah, you know, thank you so much for the support. You know, Firecry is available now on all the different places that you can download music. We have physical copies as well.
Yeah, Odin over at Moribund Records, you can get them through him. You
can get it right through the record label. You can order through him. So, and I would just like to say thanks so much for having us on this lovely interview.
You guys are welcome. Anytime. I love it. And thanks a lot for taking the time to talk to us. I really appreciate it.
Sure thing, Zach.
Anytime at all, man.
before I let you guys go, can I get you to make us a station tag real quick?
Sure.
All right, whenever you're ready, say something like, this is Category 6, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio.
All right. This is Category 6, and you are listening to Metal Devastation Radio.
Hell yeah. Like a pro.
Fuck yeah. You gotta be.
Thanks a lot, guys. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to blast some more Category 6 for these motherfuckers so they can go crazy, all right?
Yeah, let them have it.
Yeah, that's fucking great. Thank you so much, Zach. It was nice meeting you and talking to you.
Likewise, man. We'll talk to you guys. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay.
Absolutely. Have a great day now.
Later.
All right. See ya. Cheers.
There you have it, folks. Category 6 live on the Zach Moonshine Show with Metal Devastation motherfucking radio. Like I said earlier, put your speakers in your windows, put them in your front lawns, put them in your neighbor's driveway. If you're living in the basement, duct tape your speakers to the ceiling. If you're in the attic, point your speakers at the floor. Do whatever you got to do, man. If you're in the back of an Uber car or a bus or a taxi cab, take your earbuds out and crank your cell phone up as loud as it'll go. Make everybody around you freak the fuck out. This is Category 6, covering Heart with Barracuda. Crank it up.